All right, grammar detectives, welcome. You know how sometimes you read a sentence and it just feels a little off? Well, today we're going on the hunt for the culprit. We're talking about finding the true subject of a sentence. And trust me, it loves to hide in plain sight.
Okay, let's look at our first piece of evidence, the crime scene, if you will. Now, you've probably heard someone say something like this, right? Heck, you've probably said it yourself. It sounds pretty normal. But listen again. There's something not quite right, is there?
So, what is it? What's the problem here? This isn't just about pointing out a little mistake. It's about digging deeper, about understanding the very blueprint of how we put words together. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are going to be grammar detectives, and we are cracking this case wide open.
So here's the plan. First, we'll identify our target, the subject, and look at what I call the sentence skeleton. Then, we'll learn how to pick our prime suspect out of a crowd. After that, I'm going to show you a secret weapon, the prepositional phrase filter. And finally, we'll look at subjects in disguise and run one last check to make sure we've nailed it. Ready? Let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. You might be thinking, why do we even need to care about this? Well, it's a big deal, because finding the right who or what in your sentence, that's the absolute bedrock of clear writing. If you can get this one thing right, everything else just kind of clicks into place. So to find our subject, we've got to start thinking like an architect. See, every single sentence, no matter how complicated, has a basic blueprint, a core structure, a skeleton that holds the whole thing up. Let's go ahead and take a look at that skeleton.
And this skeleton, it's really simple. It's made of just two main parts. You've got the subject, that's the star of the show, the who or what, and then you've got the predicate. That part tells you what the subject is or what it's doing. That's it. A super fundamental partnership.
And this right here is such a great way to put it. The subject and the main verb. They are the backbone, literally. Everything else in the sentence, it's just flesh and muscle hanging on that skeleton. So step one for us, always, is to find that backbone. All right, now for the real detective work. See, subjects almost never show up by themselves. Nope. They're usually in the middle of a crowd, surrounded by all these descriptive words. So our job is to figure out how to cut through all that noise and isolate our one true suspect. This is a really key distinction. You've got what's called the complete subject. That's the main noun, plus all the words describing it, the whole entourage. But then you have the simple subject, and that is the one single essential word that the verb is actually connected to. That's our guy. That's the prime suspect. Okay, let's see how this works in the wild. Look at this sentence. The complete subject is this entire chunk right here. The beautiful painting she bought on vacation. Woo, that's a lot. But to find our simple subject, we just start stripping stuff away. Get rid of the, beautiful, she bought on vacation, and what are we left with? Just one word, painting. That's the kernel. That's our subject. Okay. Get ready. I'm about to give you the most powerful tool in our entire detective kit. Seriously, this is a total game changer. It's the secret weapon that lets you slice through all the confusion and find the subject pretty much every single time. We call it the prepositional phrase filter. So, what the heck is a prepositional phrase? It's just a little group of words that kicks off with a preposition, words like of, on, in, at, for, and it ends with a noun. They're useful. They add extra details. But here's the key. They are never the core of the sentence. And this brings us to the single most important rule of this whole investigation. I mean it. If you remember one thing today, make it this. The simple subject is never, ever inside a prepositional phrase. Ever. No exceptions. It's like a law of grammar physics. It cannot be broken. So why is this rule so crazy powerful? Because it stops you from making the number one most common mistake, what's called a proximity error. Check this out. The word trumpets is plural, and it's sitting right next to the verb. It is so tempting to say the sound of the trumpets were, right? But wait, of the trumpets is a prepositional phrase. So we just mentally cross it out. And what's left? The true subject, sound, which is singular. So the verb has to be was. Let's turn this into a foolproof step-by-step system. You can literally use this checklist every time. Step 1, find the verb. Here, it's was deserted. Step 2, apply our filter. See any prepositional phrases? Yep, on the hill. Cross it out. Step 3, ask the question. Who or what was deserted? The answer pops right out.
the house. And finally, step 4, isolate the simple subject by getting rid of the. And there it is, house. See? It works like a charm.
All right, you're getting good at this. We've got the basics down. But sometimes our suspect is trippy. Sometimes the subject likes to wear a disguise, hiding in places you wouldn't normally think to look.
And these are the 3 most common disguises you'll run into. First, in questions, where the verb often jumps to the front. Second, in sentences that start with the word there, that's a big red flag. And third, sentences that start with it. In those last 2, there and it are usually just decoys, and the real subject is lurking later on.
So take a look at this. In a sentence like, there are many reasons, the word there isn't the subject at all. It's just a dummy word. The real subject is reasons, and it comes after the verb. And with a placeholder like it, sometimes the real subject isn't even a single word. It's the whole phrase that comes later, like to absorb them is the thing that is difficult. Okay, so we've found our suspect, we've seen through all its sneaky disguises. Now it's time for the final step. This is like the DNA test of grammar. It's the one thing that will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that we've got the right culprit, and that is subject-verb agreement. And this is so important. Subject-verb agreement isn't just some dusty old rule. It's our ultimate diagnostic tool. It's our final check. If the subject you found and the verb in the sentence don't match up, singular with singular, plural with plural, then something's wrong with your analysis. You've got to go back to the crime scene and look again. I absolutely love this analogy. Just think of the simple subject as the CEO of the entire sentence. It's the boss. It calls all the shots. And the verb? The verb is just an employee that has to do whatever the CEO says. If the CEO is singular, the verb has to be singular. The CEO is in charge. End of story. And with that, let's go all the way back to our original crime scene and solve this thing for good. Okay, the verb is are. The prepositional phrase is at IKEA. Let's cross that out. Now, what's the subject? It's not meatballs. That comes after the verb. The subject is the best thing you can buy. Let's strip that down. The simple subject, the colonel, the CEO, is thing. Thing is singular, so the verb has to be singular. It has to be is. The best thing is the meatballs. Case closed. So there you have it. That's your complete detective toolkit. 5 simple steps. 1, find the skeleton, the subject and verb. 2, isolate the simple subject from all the fluff. 3, use that powerful prepositional phrase filter. 4, watch out for subjects in disguise. And 5, confirm everything with subject-verb agreement. You are now officially equipped to solve pretty much any grammar mystery that comes your way. Look, you now have the skills of a real grammar detective. You can see the structure underneath the surface that, honestly, most people just don't see. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know how to spot the true subject, what other common grammar crimes are suddenly popping out at you, hiding in plain sight? Go on, go find them.